A very good afternoon and welcome to Loughborough University for Elite Academy Basketball League action. The Young Guns are back and we've got two Midlands teams ready to go head to head here. The Charnwood College Riders taking on Derby Trailblazers Academy. My name is Tahir Hadja. Alongside me today, Coach Dominic McDonough from the Leicester Riders. How are we doing, Coach Dom?
Doing very well, thank you, Tahir. Excited to see what these young players have got to offer today.
Hopefully an exciting game and an exciting matchup with several players across the two rosters having experience of playing National League basketball this year, in the form of Victor Nduku, Greg Wild, and we've also got Blake Bowman, who's had an absolutely phenomenal season for the Division 1 men's team over at Derby, on display this afternoon. Let's take a quick look at these rosters then, so everybody is aware who's going to be playing for who today. For the Charnwood College Riders, number 4, Jacob Adams, number 5, Moyo Banwo, number 6, Lane Campbell, number 8 and captain Greg Wild, number 9 Kanu Gudza, number 10 CJ Hansen, number 11 Simeon Perry, number 13 Nathan Connerty, number 14 Ben Woog, number 22 Daniel Hadley, number 24 Lamarana Diallo, number 25 Victor Nduku. The head coach Will Maynard and assistant coach Yulen Fornes. For Derby today, in at 0, Spencer Matthews, number 2 Archie Culbert, number 4 Leon Furtado, number 5 and captain Carl Alexander, number 6 Sean Rawlins, number 7 Blake Bowman, number 8 Benny Kinkani, number 9 Enrique Adu, number 11 Durrell Foster, number 12 Lorenzo Williams, and number 23 Ben Hooper. Their head coach is Matt Shaw, assisted today by Jake Drayton and Jake Brown. So as mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's EABL action. The Leicester Riders taking on Derby Trailblazers, or Charnwood College Riders taking on Derby Trailblazers. Two young teams ready to go. Now, Dom, it's been difficult for junior players. They've not really had the opportunity outside of school, as per se, to play National League basketball. So the amount of basketball that they've been playing is going to be much lower than previous years. And now they're stepping onto the hardwood to get a competition underway.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see it even in the warm-ups for this game. Both teams really up for it. Like you say, a number of players have had that National League experience, but also a lot of these rosters haven't, and they're eager to play and show people what they can do out there.
Starting 5 starting to make their way onto the floor for both teams. Starting for the Riders, Gudza, Perry, Hansen, Greg Wild and Victor Nduku. Starting for the Derby Trailblazers, in at number 9, Enrique Adu, at number 6, Sean Rawlins, number 7, Blake Bowman. We've also got Ben Hooper on the floor alongside number 5, Carl Alexander. So the players take the knee to support the fight against racism in our sport. And with a huge round of applause, we'll get ready to get this one underway. Victor Nduku and Blake Bowman will line up at halfway for the tip. And it is the Derby Trailblazers that will win the tip and get us underway here. So as we were talking about, Dom, it's an exciting opportunity for these young players to get on the floor and really have the opportunity to compete and show everybody what they've kind of been working on at their respective academies to get to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see the players are hungry to get out there and start playing, but I also anticipate there will be some sort of early jitters and nerves and just getting back into the rhythm of the game.
Strong take to the basket from Alexander, rebounded by Gudza. Ball pushing forward here for the Riders in the form of Wild. Wild, in and out hesitation, kicks it out to Hansen. Hansen off the dribble, tries to find Nduku, gets it back. Hansen up strong for 2, and the first 2 points of this game going to the Charnwood College Riders. CJ Hansen for 2.
Some nice patience shown there by Riders on the offense. Nothing looked like it was around, but they took their time and got a bucket inside. Greg
Wild to the rack for 2 in transition. The pick and roll situation not quite going to plan on the opposite end for the Trailblazers. Hooper steps through, kicks it out. Ball rotation. Nice ball movement back to Rawlins. Formerly of the Northamptonshire Titans. Rawlins kicks the ball out now. Inside Adu. Up for 2, strong move. Nice finish.
Tough move there, driving baseline, coming back middle with the composure to finish through the defenders.
Huge shout out to everybody checking in on today's chat on the YouTube Basketball England page. Let your friends and family know that you're watching live Elite Academy Basketball League action at NBL England on Twitter, Instagram, and of course Basketball England for the live stream. Let us know your thoughts throughout today's game. Any questions, any shout-outs, we'll be more than happy to interact with you guys checking in and supporting the young junior British game. A foul on the line is Greg Wild. He knocks down the first free throw. I guess the second to go. 4 early points for him in this one, 6-2, 8 minutes, 32 left to play.
Yeah, still so early on in this game, but it does look like the players, like in the likes of Bowman and Greg Wild, have a little bit more comfortable with that extra playing experience so far this season.
Foul is called, no basket, foul called on the floor. And I believe the foul is called on number 9, Goodzer, for a block. End line for the Trailblazers. Skipped out over the top. Bowman for 3. Knocked down. He is going to be giving out work today, and a pivotal player for Derby Trailblazer Academy.
Yeah, Derby will be happy to see that going in early, see his confidence get high and see him knocking down some shots.
Here's Perry. Perry from the elbow. Derby in the 2-3 zone. Switching up the defense. Long down the other end of the floor. Float onto the right hand. Bobbles off the ring. Victor Nduku with a rebound. Perry to the right hand, overpowers his layup over to the opposite side. There's already been some exciting action in the EABL and WEABL. Is coming up a little bit later. And the ball touches the wire and out. City of London Academy took on the Reading Rockets, who put on an exciting display, plenty of highlight reels across the basketball social media, hoops, etc.
Yeah, I feel like the whole basketball community is happy to have the EABL and the WEABL competition back, because it's just an opportunity to see that next generation of talent really come to fruition.
Tough defense there from Hooper. Rejects Nduku, now back with Wild, pulls the trigger for 3, catch and shoot. Greg Wild.
There we go. As you said to hear, the big names from both sides being prevalent early on.
3 ball down the other end of the floor for the Trailblazers, unable to get it to go. Here's Wild. Shifting with the handles, moves the ball round to Nduku. Goodzer has a little bit of room, finds his way to the right, goes for the fancy finish. Could have just fundamentals, finish with your left.
Yeah, I think if you're a coach right now, you'd be hoping that he'd just gone strong left hand, taken the easy option. Instead wanted to get flashy with it.
Driving baseline, shifts past Nduku with the scrape at the rim for 2. Could have been more emphatic, but here's Goodzer, caught in a trap, turns the ball over now. Bowman. Now one-on-one with Goodzer, ball rotation to Hooper, the crossover, the drive to the left hand, and the foul is called. Derby not shying away from the aggression in this game, and the foul is called on number 25, Nduku. Substitution checking in for the Derby Trailblazers, number 8, Kinknani.
No, neither team seem to be settling for the outside shots too early on. They are making attacks to the basket, which is good to see.
Hoop off the front of the ring. Northamptonshire Titans product, Ben Hooper. Fortunate to see his journey over the years in junior basketball around the Midlands, and has progressed nicely, and now under the eyes and knowledge of Matt Shaw. Here's Wild, skips across to Nduku, ball at the top, and Riders will reset or not. Greg Wild fires up a catch and shoot 3, and that's caught in between the basket and the rim, a wedgie.
It's exactly that. You never want to see him. Can't help them, but as a player, you're never too happy when it doesn't lead to a score or a rebound.
Goodzer now for the inbound. Hansen's popped out to 3, Wild in the corner. Greg Wild to the rack with ease, but couldn't get his shot to go. Rebounded. Kignani gets his hands onto the ball. Here's Bowman. Hooper. Ball rotation to Bowman. Now on the left-hand side, three-point line, calls for the screen. Nice work from Goodser to get over his screen. And the clock winding down, have to throw it up. A forced shot, but Derby come up with an offensive rebound. Adu, inside Hooper, stripped away now by Goodser. Goodser pushing forward here to Victor Nduku. Nicely weighted pass. Just a little too far left of the basket. Here's Nduku. No look pass out to Simeon Perry. He's going to go strong. Simeon Perry up and under for two.
Yeah, nice finish inside there. I feel like Charnwood got away with one on the defensive end. A little bit of ball watching led to the offensive rebound, but Derby unfortunately couldn't convert on the second attempt.
Kingnani caught in trouble here, rolling around, and that'll be a travel violation. Ball going the opposite way. Substitutions checking in for both teams. For the Riders, Lane Campbell and number 13 Nathan Connaughty will check in. And for the Derby Trailblazers, checking into the game, number 5 Carl Alexander and number 11 Darrell Foster. Actually one of the former players I used to coach at Leicester Riders Academy, also from Coventry. Spent his time at the Tornadoes as well, and now after his hard work, he's rewarded with the opportunity to play here at EABL level with Derby.
Yeah, I believe there's 4 players from that team you had last year at 16's Premier to here on the floor across the 2 squads.
There are indeed, and hopefully we can give you some more insight to them as we go along in today's game. Here's Bowman. Of course, Charnwood missing 2 big names really for their team, Louis Jordan and Giovanni Emajuru, also former players at the Leicester Riders junior setup. A lot of players that I've had a lot of time, or fortunate to spend a lot of time with. But Charnwood still really strong in their roster, and a shot clock violation here for the Derby Trailblazers. The defensive intensity is there from the Riders, really forcing them to work through all their options at this moment in time.
Yeah, absolutely. The defensive rotation was really solid there. They rotated on the penetrations and they closed out on the shooters. And it showed, forcing the 24-second violation.
Campbell was caught in a trap. Connaughty here in the corner for 3. Nathan Connaughty.
I mean, if there's one thing you can say about this Riders offense is they're not afraid to shoot the ball from outside, and especially in those corner spots, they love to seem to fill them early.
Bowman. Oh, nice body shimmy to the rack. Right hand. Showtime for Blake Bowman. Lost his defender on his way to the bucket. 16-10 the score. Timeout called. 3 minutes 39 left to play here in the first quarter. An exciting first quarter, jittery first start, Dom.
Yeah, I would say the game's still finding its pace. Both teams have had moments of erratic basketball, but they all seem to be getting a little bit more comfortable out there. And as you predicted to hear, the big names have come through early for both sides.
Unfortunately, no live stats for us here, so hopefully we'll get some quarterly updates with you on the statistics, of course, without us sitting here, pen and paper, taking them all ourselves. But Greg Wild has had a strong start for the Riders. Early 5 points for him, or should I say, 5 points for him, and he's really dictated play. It was a little bit sluggish for the Riders at first, and then Derby, as Derby started to match their physicality, but now, on the defensive end, Riders have just stepped up a little bit more, and forcing Derby to really work on the execution of their actions.
Yeah, absolutely. Derby are moving the ball well. They're getting to the basket. They're kicking it out when the defense is collapsing. But right now, they just don't seem to have that extra little bit. Although Bowman gave that shimmy just before the timeout, which will be that sort of, maybe that's all the spark that they need. Teams making their way back out onto the floor here after the timeout. Riders will inbound the ball, or Charnwood Riders, should I say, on the baseline to start.
And substitution for the Riders, number 4, Jacob Adams, stepping into the game. And also, big man Ben Woog, I believe, is also checked into the game.
Derby showing in a little bit of press here, but Charnwood seem to break it easy and get all the way to the basket.
Nathan Connaughty there. Went for the fancy finish, went for the flush.
Yeah, I don't think he quite got his legs under him there. I think he had intent to try and dunk that, but he didn't quite get up high enough, and then with the contact, it's going to the line for 2.
Not completely at a loss for the possession then. Here's Connaughty, his first free throw. Had some time coaching Nathan Connaughty in Sun Live Basketball Academy in Portugal. A fantastic young man, Great head on his shoulders, and he's a hard worker. There's great length as well and diversity in his game. Manchester, I believe, is junior journey, where he was. And now here's the pressure being put on by Lane Campbell, and here's Goodzer all the way. Kanu Goodzer with the little backboard tap at the end. Lane Campbell, I'll tell you, and once again, as Don mentioned, a lot of players I've had the opportunity to coach. Lane Campbell is a ferocious defender. Incredible intensity, loves to pick a pocket.
Yeah, he's one of those players that coaches love because he plays on the defensive side of the floor with almost more intensity than he does on the offensive end.
But they're caught on the flare screen. Knocked down for three. Carl Alexander, the captain, making it happen. Goodzer now with Campbell. Derby back into this 2-3 here. Woog looks inside. He's going to try to go to work using strength. Woog to the right hand, and the foul is called. Backing down his man.
Yeah, Charnwood took a few seconds in the offense there to get organised against that zone, but they managed to get a good look inside, and the big man went to work, and he's managed to draw a foul, and let's see if he can convert from the line.
Substitution checking into the game, number 22, Dan Hadley for the Charnwood College Riders, and number 23, Ben Hooper, will check in, replacing number 6, Sean Rawlins. Dan Hadley, also Leicester Riders product from the age of under 13, has been with the Riders. You know, and apparently, after speaking to Coach Will, you know, he's really worked hard this season, and is kind of one of the leading players in the group of his year. And hopefully he's looking to make a further impression after all the hard work of practice. Rebound here for Blake Bowman after the missed second. 19-13 the score. And here's Bowman in possession. Hadley putting on the pressure, diving on the ball. And here's the three now from Alexander, fires it up. Hooper kicks it back out to Bowman. Bowman, Euro stepping into the paint, foul is called. And he's got 2 shots to come. Foul is called on number 14, Ben Woog. And Blake Bowman will go to the free throw line. Riders really pressuring the ball handlers. I've had a couple of opportunities to disrupt play there at half court.
Yeah, this kind of three-quarter court coverage that they've shown has had a little bit of success on these last 2 possessions, and it's just disrupted Derby. They haven't quite looked as comfortable settling into their offense.
Blake Bowman hits the first free throw and will hit down the second. He looks so comfortable out there. His body language, his energy, and he's taking all that experience he's lapped up in Division 1, and he's sharing it with his teammates on the floor at this moment in time. Substitution checking in, Archie Colbert.
I'll be showing in this 2-2 press again, 2-2-1 should I say. See if it'll drop back down into that 3-2 zone that we saw previously.
Good passing and movement, dismantles that press. Here's Hadley, ball rotation, finding Lane Campbell in the corner for 2, a rebound for Bowman. Here's Alexander, long pass ahead to try and find Foster. A little out of his reach.
Yeah, that's that sort of erratic play you were referring to in the timeout to here. Right intent, right pass in terms of throwing it, but just the execution slightly off there.
Here's Campbell, now with Hadley, holds it away from the defender. Dan Hadley tries to find a skip pass to Campbell, intercepted now by Alexander, pushing the ball forward. Here's Hooper, behind the back, crossover, Ben Hooper to the left hand, almost got it to go. Forward showing off his handle. Here's Hadley, jab and drive, and hands it back off to Connaughton. Adams, the second unit here for the Riders. Campbell pulls at mid-range. Lane Campbell rolls around the ring once again, and a rebound for Hooper.
Yeah, as you say, this second unit for the Charnwood Riders seem to be struggling a little bit against this 2-3 zone. They have settled for the outside jump shot and haven't been able to convert the last 3 times down the floor.
Alexander now with Campbell. Campbell going to the rack to the right hand, and this time it'll fall in for him. Sheffield Shark, Jode Campbell, younger brother, playing also for the Leicester Dynamite. Dave Harris's Leicester program, producing many players over the year, including head coach here, Will Maynard. 3 ball. Off the front of the ring, bobbles around. Dan Hadley comes up with possession here now. Hadley pushing forward. Out of bounds, deflected. Riders keep up with it.
Sorry to hear, you do have to say this Derby defence have been very active this last sort of 3 minutes of play, have been quite disruptive to the Charnwood Riders offence. Number of deflections and steals.
Of course, and it's the reading of the play. Riders can't be too readable at this moment in time, especially when they know teams are going to work to break down the zone against them. Connerty firing up a 3. Checking into the game, number 9, Adu. Keeping it in play there for the Trailblazers and back in possession. With the hesitation and crossover, clock winding down, 3 seconds. Alexander to beat the buzzer, knocks it almost down. In fact, it does knock down. The table scorer stopped the clock there, but that is the end of the first quarter. An exciting start in this game, 21-17 the score. The Charnwood Riders in the lead at this moment in time. Let's start to break this one down a little bit, Dom.
Well, yeah, so the game started off very fast-paced. I think both teams were, as we said, a little jittery, getting up and down the floor. In the last 5 minutes of play since that time out around the mid-quarter mark, both teams seem to have settled into a little bit more of a rhythm, players looking a little bit more comfortable. I personally am quite interested by the Derby Trailblazers coming out in that zone for pretty much I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes at least on the back end of that quarter. It's quite a different look, and if you watch a lot of the EABL, quite a lot of the teams prefer to play man-to-man because it means that they can push the press a bit more, but they're seeing some success from the zone early on.
I know there are a couple of players missing from the Derby Trailblazers roster. Coach Matt Shaw had a quick conversation with him before the game got underway. They are missing those additions, and I guess that's them trying to switch it up and make sure that they remain competitive in this game by forcing the Riders to rely on their outside game, especially when they've got that second unit in. The less experienced guards of bigs of Ben Woog and Nathan Connerty working as a pair inside. For them, it's an opportunity to force the game on the outside.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's an age-old coaching trick. Sink the defense, cram the paint, and force them to knock it down from outside. And if you can get punished by it, but if the team can't knock down their shots, then it's a tricky one.
So, final moments here as the teams have their final talks. And step out onto the floor, Blake Bowman has really kept the Trailblazers hanging around alongside a couple of big shots from Carl Alexander. The captain really pushing his team forward as well.
Yeah, Bowman definitely directing traffic for Derby early on in this first quarter, but that's not to say that the other players haven't been contributing. The ball's been moving well on offense and on defense, as we mentioned. Active hands, disrupting this Charnwood Riders offense, and closing the gap. I think it did stretch out to 6 points at one point, and obviously only 4 points the difference at the start of the second quarter.
So we will have some stats for you shortly from the first quarter. No link to the live stats, but there is stats being taken, and hopefully we've got somebody, our volunteer, being able to grab that for us. Here's Alexander though, off the dribble. Nice hesitation, bounce pass inside to Hooper. Hooper off the glass, strong finish for 2.
He's playing with real confidence this game early on. Hooper putting the ball on the floor, taking it to the rack. Looks really comfortable out there.
Here's Adams. Looks down low to Woog, bounce pass to try and find Nduku, but spilled possession into the hands of the Trailblazers. Foul is called on number 6, Campbell, on the arm. Sideline possession.
Sympathise with the young defender there. I don't think he did much wrong, but the ref's got a better look than I do, so who am I to argue?
So we do have the stat sheet in front of us right now. 9 points. 3 rebounds in the first quarter for Blake Bowman, leading all scorers in the game. 7 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, and a steal for Greg Wild. 4 points apiece for Kanu Gudza and Nathan Connerty. And then also 5 points from Carl Alexander, as mentioned. Here's Bowman, steps off the defender, doesn't get it to go off the mid-range.
Two very different reactions from the benches there. Charnwood Riders thinking it's a push-off. Derby thinking it was an ankles.
Lane Campbell from the corner for 3. Fires off his 3-point finger gunshot at the end of it. Really has improved on his shooting game. He's quite athletic and works really well getting to the rack. Here's Hooper now, and the foul is called on his way to the bucket. Foul this time called on number 14, Woog, and that will be his second personal foul. Substitutions checking into the game. Number 8, Greg Wild, and number 11, Simeon Perry. Campbell and Woog will take a break. Lane Campbell has got 5 points to his name. And Hooper knocks down the first free throw. I'm actually really impressed with the job that Hadley's done in guarding Blake Bowman. He's got really long arms, so he's really tough to kind of get around. And of course, Blake Bowman very skilled, but a couple of moments there where Hadley's put his body on the line and he's been sat down, or rightfully or wrongfully, but it's made a tough. Oh wow, Victor Nduku pinning that one to the backboard. Greg Wild now in transition, fires Nduku, trailer 3, you know it's coming. Off the back of the ring, he gets his own rebound, and Nduku jumps inside, foul is called, and he will get to the free throw line. Nice play there from Victor Nduku, swatting the fly against the glass.
Absolutely, rewarding the big man too. You saw Greg trying to find him in the trailer. Unfortunately, he couldn't knock it down, but followed his own shot, grabbed the rebound, and he'll go to the line to see if he can knock him down.
3-point game. And Nduku makes the first free throw.
I'd like to see a replay of that block. I thought it was clean from where we are, but there were calls for a goaltend from Derby. But I think you'll always get them when someone gets pinned to the backboard. They always want the 2.
2 for 2. Victor Nduku knocks it down. End-to-end plays for the Charnwood College big man. Here's Adu now. Hooper caught in a trap. Simeon Perry falls off. And a skip pass out to find Alexander. Here's Bowman. And Nduku comes from behind, pushing the ball forward. And Nduku, no look to find Greg Wild. He does find him. Skipped out Adams into the corner. Dan Hadley for 3 off the side of the ring. And Simeon Perry looks to follow up. And Nduku inside. 2-footed jump. Left hand for 2, cleaning up the boards. And a timeout called now by Matt Shaw. He'll want to talk it over. Riders edge into the lead by 7 points. 28-21, 7:56 left to go on the scoreboard.
Yeah, as you were mentioning there, tough coverage for Dan Hadley coming into the game to cover Bowman, especially when you consider this season, as we were discussing earlier, the likes of Bowman, Greg Wild, Victor Nduku getting a lot of playing experience across Division 1 and professional rosters. But players like Dan Hadley, you know, they haven't been able to show anyone what they've been doing other than their coach behind closed doors practices. And he's doing a good job covering the likes of Bowman. As you say, he's a wily defender, long-framed, active hands, and he's had some success early on. Riders
now edged into the lead, have kind of found their rhythm, some of their starting 5 players stepping onto the floor, bringing that experience and energy and making the big plays. The intensity has lifted a little in that period as they've attained the lead once again, especially in the half court, really forcing the Blazers to work hard to find their passes and get to the bucket. A couple of those have resulted in fouls, and Ben Hooper really putting himself about, getting his body in between defenders and trying to take and make tough shots, but getting to the free throw line. And the Trailblazers can continue to do that and have success. I think it's a really good way to keep upsetting the Riders in some fashion, to keep battling on at that physical game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're showing success going to the basket, as you say, drawing some fouls. But if you're Coach Maynard, I don't think you're going to be too disappointed with the fouls that have been given away, because they've come with your players trying to play defense the right way, just maybe being a step late on occasion. It does have to be said, though, I do think Derby are starting to struggle inside with the likes of Victor Nduku. When he really turns it on, he's such a tough player to guard, because he can put the ball on the floor, he can shoot the ball, and he's tough enough and big enough to go inside and be a real problem to guard.
Here's Alexander. Trailblazers breaking up the press. Oh, nice body fake there, Hooper. Foul is called. Nice. He faked the spin, dropped his shoulder, came right back and lost the defender. Left for dust.
Yeah, great move there, getting into the paint. I bet he wished he kind of put it up because unfortunately it got called foul on the floor for a baseline possession.
Nice interception here for Nduku, reading the lob.
That's just again demonstrating his just size and length there, being a problem to inbound past.
Wild, swatted away from Ben Hooper with the right hand. Here's Hooper now, other end of the floor. Couldn't go to his left, but cleaned up nicely by Blake Bowman.
Great transition off the block there from Derby. Almost outnumbered the Charnwood Riders in their own half.
Moyo Banwo into the game, and Hadley almost falls out. Smartly throws it off the leg of the defender to keep it in Riders' possession. Another young player from the Riders Academy, Moyo Banwo. Coached him for many years, a real hard-working young man on the court and off the court. Very smart young man. Here's Nduku, skipped across, Hadley. Nice body fake to lose Bowman. Dan Hadley to the rack. And this is an exciting matchup to watch here. Adu almost caught in a trap, and the foul has been called. Foul call, number 22, Hadley, a little over-aggressive. Trailblazers possession. And it's team foul trouble for the Riders so early on in this. And they'll go to the free throw line, 6 minutes 58 remaining. Hadley heads to the bench, and he has put a great shift in.
Yeah, absolutely, especially that last move in the corner. It was almost identical to the one Bowman did from the top of the circle going the other way, I believe late in the first quarter. So he said, yeah, see what you can do, I can do it too. A bit of trading from players.
Adu fires up the first free throw, can't get it to go. Don't forget, we've got WEABL action. Same teams, but the ladies' side. Gonna make it happen, some exciting players also in those junior academies for us to be watching. And here's Goodson now splitting the defenders. Bounce pass to Wild. Behind the back, Wild loses it. Perry fights for it. Alexander comes up with possession. Here come the Trailblazers. Bowman pulls up for three. Blake Bowman, easy as you like. Comfortable, baby.
See, this is a tricky one now for the Charnwood Riders because they want to play aggressive, but getting in foul trouble so early on means that they're maybe sagging off their man a little bit further and Bowman making them pay.
32-27. Off the dribble. Furtado into the game. Adu fires up the three, can't find the target. Banwo comes up with the rebound, finds Wild. Wild pushing with speed. Travel violation call. Not quite sure if that was a travel violation. I thought he was in his 2 steps, even though he lost control.
I have to say I didn't think it was a travel, but perhaps just a little bit unorthodox, and sometimes with the speed of the game, I do sympathise with referees. It is a tough game to call. Basketball is played at such a high tempo. We both know that, having been on the other side of the whistle to hear.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know that. Substitution checking into the game. For the Riders, Hansen checks in. Bowman, nice Euro step, inside hand, finish, smooth. Peanut butter.
I think there was a little bit of confusion on that inbounds off that travel because not one Riders player seemed to be above the 3-point line on the defensive possession.
Goodser tries it down the other end of the floor. Bowman back in possession. Furtado in the corner. Intercepted now by Hansen. Moyo Banwo in transition for 2. Money Moyo Banwo.
Yeah, getting out, opening up the tank there, and said see you later. No one near him for the 2 points on the easy layup.
Rawlins kicks it out. Alexander, nice body fake, gets 2 feet in the paint, right-handed floater, bobbles around and in. Shifty from the guard.
I feel like Derby have done a little bit of a clinic on body fakes. We've seen a lot of them early on with the shoulder twists.
Hansen. Back to Goodser. Derby still staying in this 2-3. Skipped across here to Banwo. Bounce pass inside to Perry. Skipped across to Hansen. The wide open man on the far end of the floor. Off the back of the ring. His own rebound. Intercepted Alexander. He was the one that kind of overhelped a little bit. Came back into the play to secure possession. Bowman between the legs. Pulls up mid-range. Hansen all over him. And here's Nduku pushing forward. No look pass to Hansen, mid-range 2. Not the best shot to be taken in that situation. Here's Bowman in transition.
Game getting a little bit loose now. See if either side can sort of gain control of it.
Foul is called on number 5, Banwo. And substitutions checking into the game. Number 23, Ben Hooper, and checking in for the first time, Spencer Matthews. Another former player that I coached.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to step in and say anything.
I'm just glad these guys are out here playing this level of basketball. You know, it's not just, you know, one coach that has an impact in a young person's journey. It's several coaches. Spencer's also played in Milton Keynes and Mike New, and also, you know, around the southeast areas, represented at that level many times. A fast, quick guard with a tenacious attitude. So something strong for him. Hopefully, we're looking forward to his performance today. Here's Goodzer. Banwo decides to fire the 3. Moyo Banwo. A rebound for Rawlins, caught in a trap here. Bounces it off the foot of Perry. And a sideline possession for the Blazers.
Riders looking a little bit confused after they brought the ball up the floor there. Just a little bit stagnant on the offensive end. And Banwo felt like he had no options other than shoot the 3. I'd like to see a little bit more movement, maybe off ball, get a dribble drive into the middle of that zone and really make them collapse to create another opportunity.
And an 8-second violation called. CJ Hansen applying enough pressure to take the time off the clock. The Riders will get the ball back, and substitution checking into the game, replacing Perry is number 13, Connerty.
I think that's about the 3rd turnover Riders have managed to force around the mid-court area. Obviously that one coming in the form of a 8-second violation, but the other 2 coming in open play.
Here's Banwo curling off the screen at the bottom of the key. Hansen can't keep it alive. Trailblazers earn the ball back.
Hansen struggling a little bit towards the back end of this second quarter, getting really good looks, but just can't seem to quite find his rhythm and execute how he'd like to.
Junior basketball, full court press against full court press constantly for 40 minutes. Alexander, rebounded by Hansen.
Yeah, the motor on these young players is incredible. Sometimes commentary becomes a bit tough when it's so end-to-end so quickly.
And an interception now, or I think a football was called, so fresh 14 on the clock. Someone kicked it in the possession. Substitution checking in, replacing number 6 Rawlins is number 9 Enrique Adu. Connerty was wide open. I'm not quite sure he didn't just pass the ball to Connerty there. Here's Hooper, finds Alexander, hands it off. Bowman threatening to fire the 3, does pull it off in the end, off the front of the ring. And Dooku.
Bowman not getting that one to go, but it just shows the confidence that this young man's playing the game with.
Goodzer, good ball rotation, couldn't keep a hand on it. Nice 2-feet plant, but Ben Hooper reads the play, tickles the ball away from its route towards the basket. Here's Adu now. Inside, handed off to Hooper, 2 feet in the paint. Alexander's cutting. He's caught in a trap, finding Hooper again, and kicks it out to Matthews. Alexander in the corner, inside to Hooper. Oh, and both players meeting up there as the foul is called.
Hooper causing problems on both ends of the floor right now.
I don't think he's come off the court either. So he's fully just played 17 and a half minutes for the Trailblazers.
Just causing disruptive problems. Unorthodox gather there too. Catching in the air, travelling forward, landing, and then still giving himself a pivot option. Drawing the foul.
Unable to convert from the free throw line. I feel like that's just his fatigue at this moment in time. He has been putting in an absolute shift.
Yeah, coaches always say best time to shoot is when you're tired, and that's why, because in a game you're rarely fresh when you go to the free throw line.
Here's Goodzer, fires Hansen for 3. Hansen knocks down the triple.
Great ball rotation there from Charnwood Riders. They were patient. A couple of players had an option to put the ball up, but they elected to pass to a teammate who was even more open, and it paying off on that offense.
Hooper kicks it out to Alexander now. Oh, looked like that was coming way off the corner of the backboard. Here's Goodzer. He's going to use his speed. Kicks it out to Hansen. Pump fake. Steps back. CJ Hansen looks to go back to back. And into the possession of Bowman.
Perhaps a little bit of a heat check shot there by the young man. Made the last one, was feeling himself, but unfortunately couldn't get the second one to go.
Alexander winds it up for 3 now.
Absolutely no hesitation there from the top of the circle, and drilled that one like it was practice.
Goodzer. Knocked away here into the hands of Hansen. Inside to Nduku. Kicks it out. Moyo Banwo for 3 off the side of the ring. Hansen again for 3. No good this time. Moyo Banwo, another offensive rebound for the Riders. Finds Connerty. He'll wind up a 3. Third attempt of trying another offensive rebound. Banwo back with it. Off the screen, Banwo 2 feet in the paint. Tries to find Goodzer with a fancy pass, and that's out of bounds. And substitutions checking in for both teams. Woog into the game, and for the Trailblazers, number 11 Darrell Foster will give Ben Hooper a much-deserved break. And Duco heading to the bench for the Riders. Still a 2-point game, 37-35, 57.6 remaining.
I think Riders will be disappointed that they didn't get a score there. And a backcourt violation called. The ball's being inbounded in the backcourt, but Bowman crossed, and I believe the referee believes they caught the ball in the air, which means they were actually...
They hadn't landed there.
Yeah, they hadn't established themselves in the backcourt before receiving 100%. The pass. Always a confusing call, because players will be extremely adamant that their feet were grounded. I've been there myself, I sympathise.
Shot clock has been adjusted to 14 seconds. Here's Goodzer. Now back with Banwo. Clock winding down. Goodzer has to find room here. Fancy with the handles to beat the buzzer. Kanu Goodzer. And Bowman comes up with yet another rebound. .22 on the shot clock. There's a slight adjustment there. And a timeout has been called. I think the Trailblazers with a chance to draw something up here to get a little closer. 35.3 seconds remaining. Your coach, Matt Shaw, what are you doing here, Coach Dom?
I mean, I feel like he could go for the obvious play, which is probably to run Bowman off the screen and run down the clock a little bit. I mean, you could go for a quick option. There is a possibility for the 2-for-1. What I'm actually interested in here is what Coach Will Maynard's drawing up in this timeout, because I'm interested to see if they go to a zone or if they go to some sort of trap coverage in anticipation of Bowman receiving the pass.
And of course, anticipating the next play down the floor, what they're looking for to kind of capitalize and create a bigger gap as possible going into the second. I would 2-for-1 for sure. Let's get a good look at the basket here, get back on defense, get a stop, and get something else. And Derby could finish this first half in the lead, as they've battled valiantly throughout, and they're really showing some heart and also some composure in that 2-3 zone. Whilst there's been moments where Charnwood have been able to find the weaknesses and make the plays. At times, Derby have really stuck their feet there, stuck their ground, and it's worked out for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, until this last minute of this second quarter, the zone's been very disruptive. They look like they're struggling a little bit with fatigue. In that last minute, we saw those 2 possessions where Charnwood, I think, one of them had about 5 different chances to try and score the ball. Unfortunately for them, they couldn't convert, but Derby stuck it out and managed to gain possession, even with that mid-court turnover. Got out of there without conceding any points, and as you say, to here, have an opportunity to maybe even take the lead going into the half.
Substitutions have not been made for either team as the fives come back out, and we will see what we've drawn up here. We've got a Blake Bowman post-action work here. Tough from Goodzer to keep his ground. Hansen comes up with the rebound. Here's Connerty pushing forward. Bowman. Nathan Connerty rocks the rim. I thought it was Bowman trailing, but it's actually Adu, and I thought Bowman was just going to swipe at it. But Nathan Connerty throws it down with the emphatic jam for 2. Clock winding down, 10 seconds. Bowman versus Goodzer. Blake Bowman with the crossover to the spin, kicks it out. Spencer Matthews off the dribble to beat the buzzer. Matthews off the front of the ring into the hands of Goodzer, and that is the end of the first half here at Loughborough University. 39-35. An exciting and close game here at Loughborough University in the first half, Dom.
Yeah, absolutely, and what an emphatic play for Riders to go into the half with that huge two-hand flush from Nathan Connaughty. I thought the trailing defender was going to try and jump with him, but he saw him take off early and thought, I'm not getting in that poster. Got his way out of the way on the baseline.
So I think Riders will be taking, obviously, the confidence going into that second half that they've played and kind of got through a cagey first half of basketball overall. But Derby shouldn't be disheartened by their performance. Their performance was strong overall. You know, a couple less turnovers along the way. When we do get that turnover count for you, you know, we'll let you know what that is on the stat sheet at half time. But you know, it has not worked for them in the first quarter. They had 6 turnovers overall, and Riders have really capitalized on those opportunities from them. 11 points from turnovers in the first quarter.
Well, yeah, I think Derby, only down 4, as we said, had an opportunity to go into the half up. I don't think they're going to be disappointed one bit, because they know that they're not at their best. As you say, they've had a number of turnovers that they'll want to cut out in the second half, and also they've given up a number of offensive rebounds that I know that their defense won't be happy with. However, if they can make those adjustments, we're in for a real ball game in this second half.
So we're going to take a short break now, and we'll come back a little bit earlier to give you the updated stats from halftime. As mentioned, there's no link to the live stats as per se, but we'll have a paper copy soon, and we'll share that with you as soon as possible as well. Big shout out to everybody checking in on the YouTube comments. We're seeing what you're saying. We've got viewers from all over the place: Dubai, the Philippines, Japan, America, the UK, of course. So don't forget to shout out who you're supporting, where you're from, and who you're backing today in the YouTube comments. Live WEABL Elite Academies Basketball League action. Don't forget WAB action coming up at 4 o'clock also. very good afternoon and a warm welcome back here to Loughborough University Elite Academy Basketball League action. The Charnwood College Riders taking on the Derby Trailblazers Academy. 39-35 the score. Teams having their final tee talks. My name is Tahir Hajat. Alongside me today, Dominic McDonough, as we take you through the proceedings of these two teams' first game in EABL action. An exciting one, and we do have the stats for you. I've posted a couple in the comments section for you to digest as we go along. And really, it's a tale of depth for the Riders as to why they're in the lead at this moment in time. 15 points coming from their bench, but also a tale of individual and excellence and domination for certain players at the Derby Trailblazers. Blake Bowman, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 assists, and 11 points for Carl Alexander, with Ben Hooper and Enrique Adu the only 2 other contributors for the Trailblazers. Balanced scoring across the cards for the Riders. Greg Wild with 7 points. Karnu Gudza has 4 points. 2 points for Dan Hadley, 6 points for Nathan Connerty, 5 points for CJ Hansen, 5 points for Lane Campbell, 4 points apiece for Gudza and Perry, as I mentioned, for Gudza already, and 2 points for Banwo. So let's get this second half underway. Please do let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Share, like, subscribe with your family. Basketball England Elite Academy Basketball League action at official EABL. Here's Wild looking inside to Perry for the spin, knocked away from possession. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Riders ball in line.
See if they've got something quick drawn up here or a go-to.
Perry, catch and shoot. And here comes Adu coming up with the rebound. Pause to play. So the shot clock just going to be edited to 19 seconds. Didn't start immediately.
As you were saying, just before the quarter started, to hear as the depth in Charnwood really being demonstrated here, no one having to carry the team. Derby, a little bit of a different story, no bench points, their starters really contributing to give them everything that they've got so far in this game. Oh, and a great steal by Karnu Gudza. Can he go all the way?
To the right hand, and Bowman does enough to put him in off. Now here's Bowman pushing forward, shakes off Gudza, almost loses possession, fires Alexander, body fake, and Greg Wild comes across his body. The foul will be called on number 8, Greg Wild.
Having been in foul trouble last quarter, I'm sure Coach Will Maynard's keen for the Charnwood Riders to not commit so many fouls early on in this quarter, and giving away a little bit of a cheap one there. And there comes number 2, called on. I'm not sure who that was called on. Number
11, that will go on Perry, so second team and second personal for him. 2 fouls for Greg Wild as well. The Riders spent 7 minutes about that in the second quarter in team foul trouble.
Yeah, and they've picked up 2 early ones here in less than, what are we at, 50 seconds into the third quarter, so let's hope they can go a few minutes without committing their third.
Rebound here for Perry, as Bowman unable to knock down the free throws. Here's Gudza. 7 for 14 from the free throw line, 50% for the Trailblazers. Here's Hansen, tipped into the hands of Simeon Perry for 2.
I wasn't sure where he was going there. Most coaches say don't leave your feet if you don't know where you're going to pass the ball, but Hansen managing to get that one to go inside to Perry.
Oh, Bowman between the legs, step back, all strings, nothing but net.
Yeah. As long as he's playing like this, Derby aren't going anywhere, and this game's going to be a tight one till the end.
He has 19 points early on in this game, 8 minutes, 20 seconds left to play.
That's 50% of Derby's points coming from one player. It just shows you how dangerous he can be.
And Dooku to the right, to the left hand, took it all the way to the watering hole to get himself some refreshment. And here's Bowman. He's going to try it down the other end of the floor, and a foul is called. Mauled underneath the basket. Foul is called on number 9, Goodzer. And I think, you know, Hansen and Perry were stood there. I don't think Goodzer needed to come in and reach in and grab that away. Now 3 team fouls early on here.
Yeah, I think that just shows the threat that Blake Bowman poses on the offensive end of the floor. He attacked the basket and the Charnwood Riders just collapsed on him, trying to prevent the layup, but inadvertently, like you say, giving away their 3rd team foul.
And Bowman knocks down the 2nd of those free throws. Skip pass here from Goodzer to find Nduku to Hansen in the corner. Greg Wild for 3. Greg Wild. Time to go crazy from behind the 3-point line. 46-39. Alexander. And the foul is called again on the Riders. On Wild again. That will be his 3rd personal and the 4th team foul. 7 minutes 46 seconds on the clock.
I'll be honest, I think that's a real tough one there. Scored the corner 3, got back on defense. I thought he got his chest square, but as I said previously, the referee's much closer than I am.
Bowman. Goodzer gets his hands involved. Here's Hooper driving inside, finds Rawlins, kicks it out. Adu trying to make it work, finds Bowman. Ball fake, Bowman to the rack, to the left hand, and a rebound for Perry. Great defense there from Charnwood. Here's Greg Wild pushing forward with speed. Wild had too much to do with the pump.
I think Simeon Perry's playing huge defense for Charnwood Riders right now. He's clogging up that paint, he's communicating, he's getting over ball screens, and he's rebounding the ball really well too.
Working against Hooper, and they've had many battles over the years as juniors. Simeon Perry originally from the Derbyshire area, played for Spartans, and when Titans and Spartans would have played, you know, that battle would have always been there, Hooper versus Perry. So, you know, no love lost between those two. They've been playing against each other for years. Here's Nduku. He struggled to find the next pass, and yes, drive to score, but you've got to be aware of where your next pass is. And at the moment, you know, Riders are a little bit frantic. They're feeding off the energy of this little scoring run, but need to remain composed to continue in that form.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting a little bit overexcited, I'd say. Like you say, driving head down to the basket, losing that little bit of composure that they showed earlier in the game. Coach Maynard saying something to his team, hoping that they can get that composure back so that they can play with a little bit more poise. As you say, attack the basket to score, but if it's not on, be able to pass the ball out and find a good option on the perimeter.
Big 3 for the Derby Trailblazers. Adu brings them within 4. Here's Alexander. He'll step back. Finding Bowman. Bowman again for 3. Would have been huge for them if that fell.
Perry collecting another rebound.
And now knocked away. Goodzer will clean it up. Finds Nduku. Skipped across to Wild in the corner. Perry firing up a 3 off the back of the ring. Gets his own rebound. Going strong. Tries to hands it off to Hansen. A ball fake. Nduku for 3. Knocks it down. Victor Nduku from behind the arc.
Showing his versatility there as a player. I've got a feeling that both teams have just been running flat out for the past 4 and a bit minutes, and now suddenly the game's finding a little bit of a natural rhythm as all players are catching their breath and slowing down just a fraction.
And Adu there stopped in his tracks. Nduku picking up a block. Pushes him right back down to the floor. And now the Blazers have end-line possession. Finds the ball to Hooper. And a travel violation called. Riders will get it back. Trailblazers looking a little bit flat here. Still keeping with the full court pressure. And a timeout is called. Coach Matt Shaw wants to have a conversation and talk it out. 49-42 the score. 5 minutes, 39 seconds remaining. The Charnwood Riders in the lead.
Yeah, calling his timeout again at that 7-point deficit like he did in the first half. Clearly wanting to get a grasp on the game and not concede again for it to become potentially a 10-point game.
More importantly, give his boys a break and give them a chance to re-energize and realign their thinking with how to overcome this challenge that's been placed in front of them. 7-point gap is obviously not much as per se, and if they get back into what they were doing well, which was taking their time, finding good looks closer to the basket, the Trailblazers will be right back up with the Riders, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, starters for Derby playing perhaps heavier minutes potentially than the Charnwood Riders at this moment in the game, and this might just be the much needed breather they need to find their pace for the rest of this third quarter and settle in. They've kind of traded end to end, Riders getting a couple of extra baskets to drop, but now I think this next 5 minutes will really show the composure and which team can pull it together to string together the next 5 minutes of consistent basketball in an ideal world.
Time call back in. And inline ball here for the Riders to get things back underway. Goodzer. Don't forget, both players both teams are missing a couple of big pieces to their puzzles as well.
Derby still in this 2-3 zone, but as you see, when an extra man comes to the perimeter, the man from the top floats up. Oh, great offensive rebound and put back there.
Simeon Perry cleaning it up and pushing Riders into the lead by 9.
I suspect we'll probably see the Riders' rotation shrink in this second half, and we'll see these starters have a few more of the minutes.
A foul is called, 2 shots to come here. Foul called on number 8, Benny Kignani. And Riders with a chance to go into their biggest lead of the game. They've currently matched it at 9. And Duka with a chance to push it out to 11. With his 2 free throws here. Makes the first. And what's been invaluable for players like Wilden and Duka is training with the BBL team for sure. As everybody knows, the Riders men's team have had wonderful success this season, and their roster is star-studded. And these guys have the opportunity to play and practice against that caliber of player. It's really going to help their development.
Yeah, absolutely. Players with that opportunity who are looking to maybe go across to the States to continue education or even go pro or choose another path. It's a fantastic opportunity to run with the players in the Riders professional team, and as you say, this year particularly star-studded roster and some invaluable experience for the young players.
Here's Goodzer in the corner finding Hansen. Hansen for 3. Bowman fights for the rebound. And the Riders come up with, Trailblazers will come up with possession. That last offense there from Derby, extremely well executed to find the right shot. Let's see if we can get the same thing here. Bowman overlapping Hooper at the high post. Now Alexander finding Bowman, one-on-one with Nduku, bounces it off his own foot, but here's Greg Wild pushing forward now. Wild to the rack, to the right hand, finds Hansen. Hansen tries to clean it up with a putback. Derby come up with possession. Bowman skips it across to Adu, catch and shoot for 3, and a rebound for Simeon Perry. Goodzer. Fancy handle between the leg, ball rotation, finding Nduku, kicks it to the corner, catch and shoot. Greg Wild off the side of the ring, offensive rebound, second bite at the cherry. Wild, and a rebound for Perry once again. Goodzer kicks it out, Hansen, Nduku, pump fake, inside to Perry, to the left hand, his own rebound. Perry, no basket, offensive foul called. And number 11, Perry, just went into the back of Adu with a push, and the Trailblazers will get that one back. Substitutions checking in for both teams. Number 22, Dan Hadley. Number 13, Connaughton will check in. Number 11, Darrell Foster checking into the game for the Trailblazers alongside number 6, Sean Rawlins.
I think that's at least the second possession we've seen where Charnwood Riders have got numerous offensive rebounds but haven't been able to convert. Coach Maynard, I would imagine, would want to see his team be a bit more clinical in those situations. But I think it also reflects that Derby are maybe suffering a little bit from fatigue, not being able to collect these defensive rebounds.
Oh, Derby have had 6 players on the court here. So the referee's talking it over, and substitution was made but not made. And now checking into the game, number 12, Lorenzo Williams, also a former Northamptonshire Titan. As Ben Hooper and Benny Kingnani head to the bench. So I believe have they given him a technical?
No, referee, I believe, I couldn't quite hear, but said I think it was a referee error on the entrance of the substitute. So no technical foul given and just a sideline possession.
Cool. Bowman up for 2, 21 points. Wild off the dribble, skipped across to Connaughton. Ball rotation and Dooku now Wild. Dan Hadley in the corner for 3. Almost knocks it down. That would have been perfect situation for Will Maynard's offense there. The unprecedented ball rotation one side to the other. Nice long arms from Hadley. Keeps it in play for the Riders. Here's Nduku. Connaughton winds up the 3. Ooh, completely overpowers that. And it's a Leicester Riders possession as Hadley puts the pressure on Williams and gets it back.
I feel like the game's played with so much pace and space these days that the 3-point shot was wanted there by Riders, but Victor Nduku could have actually kept his dribble going.
Foul is called on number 13, Connaughton. Alexander using his body well to draw the contact.
That'll see Derby go to the line as they're in the Riders are in those team fouls we were discussing earlier.
You know, despite that, still in the lead, and to be fair, not great free throw line shooting from the Trailblazers. They need to make these count to reward themselves for putting Riders in that situation.
Absolutely, they've left a few points on the line, and they want to ensure that they convert them moving forward.
And that's 2 for 2 for Alexander. Does make it count and brings it to a 5-point game. Nice hands from Rawlins there. Almost steals it away from Greg Wild. Victor Nduku playing point guard almost overpowers that pass to Adams.
A little bit loose there from Charnwood Riders, but they found their composure in the front court.
Hadley to Wild. Wild for 3. Rolls around the ring. And Alexander comes up with possession. Spills it away. And Nduku driving. And Nduku kicks it out. Hadley to find Wild again for 3. Wild will knock it down this time.
See the disruptive hands from Charnwood guards in the front court, really causing some problems for Derby, forcing that turnover there that led to Greg Wild knocking it down for 3.
Bowman. Back up top to Alexander, this time for 3 for him, no good. Picked up by the Riders. Wild. Pulls up for 3, Greg Wild. Not a great shot.
A little bit of a heat check moment there, I think, for Greg, feeling himself having just knocked one down.
He's only made 1 of 4 in the last minute, should we say. So you know, maybe try and look somewhere else. Here's Bowman. Kicks it out. Back to Bowman. Winds up the 3-point shot. Was heavily contested, rebounded by Nduku, and a foul is called on number 12, Lorenzo Williams. And substitutions checking into the game for the Riders. 1:07 remaining. Lane Campbell and Ben Woog into the game. Wild and Nduku head to the bench. Substitution for the Trailblazers, number 9, Enrique Adu will check in.
Yeah, as we saw there in that break of play, 2 of Derby's players over, hands on their knees, just showing how hard they're working, taking any opportunity of a break to catch their breath so that they can keep playing hard for this last minute of the 3rd quarter.
Kingnani and Hooper also check it in. Foster and Alexander take a break. Campbell, now to Hadley. Hadley fires it up mid-range. Rebounded by the Trailblazers, Adu. Interception here now for Dan Hadley, looking for the next pass. Beautiful bounce pass, almost gets it to Connaughton, and that's knocked away. Trailblazers will have it.
Again, Charnwood's defense causing some real problems for Derby, bringing the ball up the floor. Just extremely disruptive, overplaying everything. Look how far these guards are away from the basket. Forcing another turnover from Derby there. Great active hands.
Nice work from Adams to do that one. Here he is on the other end. Adams off the back of the ring, and Hooper comes up with the rebound. You know what, overall, looking at this court, there's so many players from the Midlands here, which is great to see. Travel violation called.
Is that the third turnover in a row for Derby?
Yeah, and a timeout called by Will Maynard. He'll want to talk it over. 17.5 seconds, a chance for him to draw something up, to capitalize on their lead. It's an 8-point lead for the Riders, 56-48. The Derby Trailblazers looking like they're starting to tire a little bit in this game. Some forced shot opportunities and some intense pressure on defense, forcing those turnovers.
Yeah, it has to be said, neither team actually executing at their best on the offensive end, but the defensive intensity from Charnwood Riders has just given them an extra advantage in these last couple of minutes of the third quarter. As we said, forcing those turnovers from Derby and just giving them more opportunities to score the ball.
Hopefully at the end of that third quarter we'll have you some live stats from the game. As mentioned, we don't have a live stats link, so we're receiving them quarterly, and when we have that information we will share it with you. Tell your friends and family to join in with us. One more quarter here in the men's EABL competition between Riders and Derby. But don't forget the WEABL action coming up straight after around 4 o'clock tip-off. The Riders taking on the Trailblazers, and once again more exciting junior British talent on display, and as we already mentioned, a great opportunity to showcase all the hard work that these young players have been putting in during these tough times.
Be interesting to see what Coach Will Maynard has drawn up out of this play, to see if they can stretch this to a 10 or even 11-point game potentially with 17.5 seconds on the clock.
So here we go, time called in. Let's see what Coach Maynard has drawn up here. Adams gets the ball into play easily. Here's Campbell. Riders looking for a specific action. Here's Hadley, Woog inside, keeps it alive, tries to find Connaughty. Lane Campbell to beat the buzzer off the glass, and it won't fall for him, but at the end of the third quarter, 56-48. Advantage Charnwood College Riders, but this one is not over. 8 points in it.
Absolutely not. We've seen the way that both these teams can score in flurries, and 8 points is not a big gap, and it'll be interesting to see what Blazers do coming out into this fourth quarter to try and close that gap.
Well, as this game starts to come to a close, it's that time to start thinking about your MVP of the game. Let us know in the comment section who you think is the game MVP. And as the game progresses for the rest of this fourth quarter, we'll let you know who we think is potentially going to be the game MVP from our standpoint. As mentioned, we'll get those stats to you as soon as possible, which will help you to make that decision. A big shout out to everybody watching in. Over 254 people tuning in live to support junior basketball here in the UK. Don't forget, lots of exciting action coming up in the upcoming weeks for the official EABL and WEABL. Make sure you check that out on social media at official EABL, and I believe at WEABL official are the Twitter handles. So please do get involved in the conversation, share the love, the support for British basketball. Blake Bowman kind of quietened down a little bit here in the second half, not as prolific as he was in the first half of the game. You know, he had 16 points by that point. Now I believe he's at around 23, but I'll let you know when I get that stat sheet. So he has had some impact, but now they just got to share the load a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he still scored the ball in that third quarter, putting up, as you say, somewhere around 7 or 8 points, I think. But it's more the other things. He was instigating the offense in the first half. He was carrying the load, bringing the ball up the floor a lot of the time. He's played a lot of minutes. He looks a little bit tired, and they need someone else who can take some of that pressure on the ball, instigate the offense, set some screens, you know, do the little things that create the scoring opportunities for everyone.
Hot and fresh off the printer, the stats for you: 22 points, 11 rebounds, double-double for Blake Bowman, 13 points, 4 steals, 3 assists, for Carl Alexander, 8 points for Adu, 5 points for Ben Hooper, the only players to score for Derby in this game. 13 points for Greg Wild, 11 points, 10 rebounds, double-double so far for Victor Nduku. 8 points, 8 rebounds for Simeon Perry, 6 points for Nathan Connerty, 2 points for Daniel Hadley, 4 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds still for Goodzer, and 5 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds for CJ Hansen as well. Lane Campbell also has 5 in that one.
Great
So
hands from Dan Hadley there to steal the ball on the Blake Bowman pass. Couldn't get the layup to go. A little bit of confusion on the floor here. Referees discussing.
And referees making sure they make the right call here. I'm going to talk it over.
Some great defense from the guards, Dan Hadley and Lane Campbell there from Charnwood Riders. They switched on the pick and roll action, blocked off the dribble penetration, and when the pass got, when the dribble got picked up and the pass made, they'd recovered in time into that passing lane to steal possession.
And here we go with another steal, and Woog almost picks the pocket of that pass and steps out of bounds.
Such aggressive defense here from the Charnwood Riders. All 5 players below the 3-point line, trying to deny any entry.
All 10 players in the half court. A foul call here on number 6, Lane Campbell, a little bit too physical off the ball. Sometimes the referees see it, sometimes they don't, Dom.
Yeah, well, there's only 2 refs out there and 10 players, as you said, so they can't see absolutely everything, and sometimes players manage to get away with a little bit of physicality off ball, but that time, unfortunately, the ref's keen eye saw what was going on.
Ball into play. Here's Alexander. Campbell staying in front. Alexander uses the screen from Adu. Beautiful pass to find Bowman. Bowman to the right hand and 1. Nice, beautiful pass from Alexander. Scoops it around the defender to find Bowman. Holds his core in midair, is cleaning it up at the rim for 2, and another foul for the Riders early on. Second team foul and only 28 seconds played. They've really had troubles at the beginning of every single quarter of keeping their hands out of the cookie jar.
Yeah, absolutely. They're playing great defense too, is the ironic thing, but they just get a little bit too zealous and reach at that final second. I was just about to say the great stunt and recover defense that was played, or sorry, hedge and recover defense that was played on that screen action, but Blake Bowman found his look inside and converted.
Lane Campbell there with 2 points. Here's Hooper. Skips it out. Nice hands from Connerty. Finds Ben Woog. Here's Adams pushing the ball forward. Back into the hands of Campbell. Look to shoot it. He's got time. Blake Bowman inviting him to shoot. And that's why at this moment, you know, Campbell can shoot the 3, but if you think about it too much, it's going to affect your shot. Here's Alexander. Quick to the behind the back. Finds Adu with the spin. Nice interception here from Hadley once again, pushing the ball forward for the Riders. Hadley's got to go all the way. Hadley to the rack.
Second steal of the quarter, but
a technical foul given.
And I believe that is his 4th personal.
Foul called, and Dan Hadley just questioning the referee's call. And I'll be honest with you, as a junior player, not much has changed. He always wears his heart on his sleeve, should we say. But, you know, that will always be something that is a key part of his development, is to let those situations slide. You know, you feel challenged by a referee's decision, you've just got to keep going. Because at the end of the day, it'll come and bite your team back in the butt like that. And now he's sat down as good as steps onto the floor.
Yeah, I think it's a
well
tough one. Absolutely. 2 steals in the first minute of the game. I think he was unfortunate. It looked like on the first transition opportunity off that steal, he did actually get hit, and with no call that time from our position. The defense looked like they took a good position, but Clearly a little bit of frustration there, as there was some contact and no call on back-to-back opportunities to score. And
but you got to keep your head. That's the most important thing. Keep your head in this situation, especially when you're making such a big contribution to the team. Here's Bowman again for 2 off the glass.
Absolutely, I think that's where young basketball players do mature and develop, and understanding that you can't control everything, and all you can control is yourself and your behaviour to try and put your team in the best position possible.
Campbell shakes off the defender, finds Connaughton with room for 3. Nathan Connaughton, and that one bounces off the back of the ring, rebounded by Adu.
Showing real confidence shooting the ball from outside, Nathan Connaughton, but I'd like to see the big man attack the basket a little bit more. He's got some serious athleticism, and I think he could be disruptive to this Derby defense if he got inside a little bit more.
Adams for 3, no good. Ryder's a little bit of a cold spell. It's a 4-point game.
Another offensive rebound, keeping it alive.
And an offensive foul there from Connaughton, a lazy screen. He kind of lent his body across and just moving on that screen action there. Referee can see it nice and easily. Coach Maynard not happy with his riders after that.
From a coaching standpoint there to here, do you put a moving screen more on the screener or the ball carrier not running their man into the screen?
I think that was a bit of both in that situation there. But Connaughton just reaching over to do that. Now, in the screening action, sometimes you might not necessarily need to make full contact with your with the attacking player to make the most of that situation. He could have just slipped through if he was that far away from him.
Tough foul called there on Conor Goodser. Looked like he had position, but contact's called, and Bowman will go to the line to see if he can add 2 more to his tally for the game.
Started to spark the Trailblazers here in the 4th and final quarter. 7 minutes 13 on the clock, and yet again Charnwood 14 fouls. It seems to be a real big problem that they have on these hands, all of these fouls, and Derby with 0 once again at this point in the game.
Yeah, absolutely, and Bowman here knocking down his 2nd free throw, now punishing them. As we discussed earlier, they've been a little bit inconsistent from the line, but now in this 4th quarter it's going to lead to some problems if they keep knocking them down.
Here's Campbell. Fakes the spin. Keeps his footwork. Adams, nice touch pass to find Goodser. Goodser pulls at mid-range for 2 and stops the drought for the Riders.
A much-needed score there. Great.
Almost intercepted here by Campbell. Knocked off the leg. And it's a Leicester Riders possession. Campbell does enough.
Great hustle there. Saw it kind of over his shoulder like a wide receiver in American football. Managed to tip it and then tip it into the Derby player to gain possession as well.
Goodser. Adams. Connaughton. Finds Campbell. Looks inside to find Woog. Doubled down onto the left-handed hook. Bounces around. Both players with their hands onto the ball. And it's a Riders possession. As the arrow dictates. Number 10, CJ Hansen checking into the game. Don't forget, Riders have got Nduka and Wild ready to rock and roll at their disposal when they need them. Substitution for the Trailblazers. Furtado will check into the game.
Yeah, when you think about it, at this stage of a game, Coach Will Maynard keeping some of his starters on the bench, it shows real trust in his whole roster there to have what is predominantly his 2nd unit in essence on the floor. This midway point, sort of a knife edge of a game, 4 points, could still go either way. It shows real trust.
Connaughton, rebounded by Woog. Now to Hansen. Catches it back, ball rotation, Adams catch and shoot.
And this is where this 2-3 zone is really working, because until Charnwood can start knocking down some of these outside shots, Derby are going to live with those shots being taken.
Well, here are those 2 players stepping up to the table that we spoke about, Wild and Nduku. Surely they will change things in Charnwood's favour. The foul is called here, another foul for the Riders, and number 10, Hansen this time. 2 shots for Blake Bowman, and now if he makes all his free throws, he could be looking at a 30-point game right now.
Yeah, smart play, put the ball on the floor, exploited the mismatch, got inside and drew the contact. You can see he looks like he's getting a little bit tired, still nearly 6 minutes to play, and you know, going to the free throw line doesn't only give you an opportunity to score uncontested points, but it also gives you an opportunity to catch your breath. doesn't get the first one to go, bobbles out.
And doesn't get the second. Really need to capitalize on those opportunities. As a beautiful transition play here for the Riders. Wild can't finish. Bullet pass from Goodzer.
Yeah, a little bit of a let-off there for the Charnwood Riders, with Blake Bowman missing both of his free throws and then missing the transition opportunity. You know, still a 4-point game. Could be very different right now.
Greg Wild fires it up once again. Connerty fights for the rebound.
These offensive rebounds are really taking their toll.
And here's Goodzer now for 2 at the glass. And he has actually really revived or kept the Riders hanging around through this little bad spell that they've had at the beginning of this quarter.
Yeah, he's managed to grind in a couple of scores, which doesn't sound like much, but when no one's scoring, it makes all the difference.
Wild, almost with the interception. Furtado keeps it alive for the Trailblazers. Steps in, fire it up, young fella.
Yeah, almost forgot that he could score there.
Well, that is the case with this team today. As mentioned, there's only 4 players on the score sheet for the Trailblazers. And the first foul of the quarter called against the Trailblazers. Substitution checking into the game for them. Alexander, Adu, and number 2, Archie Colbert, will check into the game for the Trailblazers.
Yeah, I mean, 6-point games could swing just like that in a game of this tempo. So the game's right there for the taking, and it depends which team are really going to dig in for this last just shy of 5 minutes to show what they can do.
Wild inside to the reverse for 2 points. Greg Wild takes his tally to 15 points.
Yeah, what a finish there. Drove baseline, looked like he was going to kick to the corner, and then contorted his body at the last second to create that beautiful finish off the window.
Alexander tries to bounce the ball. It comes off a Riders player.
Oh, tipped the inbounds, but Derby still maintain possession.
Here's Bowman. Bowman still with it. Kicked out to Alexander. Now Colbert for 3. Ooh.
There you go. That's what you were just saying. Yeah. Only 4 players scoring. Other players are losing the rhythm of shooting the ball, and that one just went straight over the basket from 3.
Here's Wild and Dooku.
And a little bit of a hot potato.
Goodzer for 2 again. Kanu Goodzer coming alive for the Leicester Riders. 6 back-to-back points for him.
Taking over a little bit down the stretch here. Kanu Goodzer stretching the Charnwood Riders lead out to 10.
Bowman going to the rack, and a foul is called. Foul is called on number 25 and Dooku. And Bowman at the chance at the free throw line once again. 10-point game, 66 to 56, 3:58 remaining. Perry checking into the game, replacing Nathan Connerty, who's been really putting on a shift inside. And a timeout called. Coach Matt Shaw chance to regroup and rethink how to knock down the deficit of this 10 points.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one, but I do really think they need to try and exploit this foul count. You know, Derby with an opportunity to really try and convert from the line if they can draw some of these fouls anywhere on the floor, as Riders do find themselves in team foul trouble. The question is just execution now. We've seen Derby have come down, they've let it fly from outside, they've taken the mid-range, and they've failed to convert, unfortunately, due to, as we say, the majority of their scoring load being carried by just a few of their players right now.
At the end of the third quarter, you know, second chance opportunities for the Riders, a 15-4 situation, and fast break points 20-8, you know, bench points 50-0. It's the fundamentals that, the fundamental elements that Derby need to work on to ensure that they are not in this position by any means at this point of the game. You know, those turnovers are going to kill them. 21 points from turnovers they've gifted to the Riders this game as well.
Well, absolutely, and this is where programs, teams, whatever you want to call it, this age group, you know, depth makes a real difference. And having players that you can trust throughout your roster to come in and produce, and whether that's for 3 minutes or 30 minutes, it makes a difference, and it removes that inconsistency perhaps from some programs' games, and that's what Charnwood Riders have displayed today. Probably not even at their full strength, but they're showing that they still have that depth, and people can come in and contribute useful minutes.
Woes at the free throw line continue for Bowman.
Knocks down the second.
And takes the deficit back down to 9. Here's Hansen. Finds Nduku. Ball rotation. Goodza. 2 feet in the paint once again. Bobbles around. Off the back of the ring. Hooper comes up with it and kicked out of bounds by Nduku. The Trailblazers ball on the baseline. So let's hear it now. We've got around 3:43 remaining. Come on, who is your MVP of this game? Obviously, Blake Bowman's had an outstanding one, but as the game boils down, it's the Riders that seem that they're in the advantage position to win here. You know, I got Wild down as in terms of points, but you know, he's not really assisted the ball or rebounded the ball as well as he has done in previous games.
Yeah, if you had a fourth quarter MVP for Riders right now, I think it'd have to be Konu Goodser, who has just been the sort of steady player for Riders, you know, doing the little things, creating some scores, yes, but also just giving a little bit of patience to the Riders offense, allowing them to sort of establish this lead and maintain it.
Greg Wild there, gets one in off the backboard, slaps it, backboard tap. Feels just as good as a dunk for some of us. Blake Bowman firing up another triple. Nice play there from Bowman. 8-point game. Here's Hansen into the corner. Greg Wild for 3. Knocks it down. And the net wraps around the ring. And now Greg Wild is saying, you take it easy, Tahir. You know, I think I'm in the MVP hat for this game.
Well, there you have it. The big names, as we predicted at the beginning, really coming to life towards the back end of this game. Bowman knocking it down and Greg Wild answering, saying, you can do it, I can do it too.
Here's Bowman once again sliding away from the defender, slips through the gap, drops it in for 2 points.
He's making it look quite effortless right now.
Wild again for 3. Greg Wild fixes the net. Back-to-back threes. Greg Wild.
There you go. Bowman hits a 3, hits a tough look in the lane, but still can't close that gap with the likes of Greg Wild. And now Derby get called for the offensive foul with the screen at mid-court.
Called on Hooper.
There we go, we've seen one go each way. And that one's come at a rather bad time for Derby. 12 points now, turning the ball over, no opportunity to score. And Charnwood Riders have an opportunity to stretch this lead from 12 to 14 or 15 if going by the last 2 possessions and Greg Wild shooting.
Checking into the game, Spencer Matthews, Sean Rawlins. Here's Hansen. Inside to Nduku. Foul is called as Hooper jumps up to contest that. And the foul will be called on number 23, Hooper. And 2 shots to come for Victor Nduku. 3rd personal foul for Hooper. And a substitution lining up for his first opportunity to check into the game. Number 24, Lamarana Diallo. And that will be for the shooter Victor Nduku.
At lower junior levels, some players might miss the second just to not sub out, but I'm sure we won't be seeing that at this level. If he can knock it down, I'm sure he will.
And he doesn't get the second to go.
A little bit of the commentator's curse there, perhaps, but it does mean he'll get an extra few seconds playing time.
Greg Wild, ridiculous! From way behind the white line, Greg Wild going off from behind the 3-point line. Nails in the coffin. Here's Bowman.
Yeah, I'm not sure how loud we're speaking because we're quite away from the players' bench, but I think he might have heard us.
Oh, yeah, he's more than happy to hear me. More than happy as the turnover comes for the Trailblazers. Their shoulders drop and they begin to feel the looming loss coming in, and substitution checking into the game. Diallo will check in alongside Moyo Banwa. Greg Wild, after firing 3 back-to-back threes, will head to the bench alongside Victor Nduku. Job done. Take a seat, fellas.
A wry smile as Coach Maynard and him have a little laugh. He says, "What, me now? I've just made 3 in a row." Coach says, "Yeah, it's your time."
Banwo shakes off Spencer Matthews. Screen from Perry. Moyo Banwo off the dribble. Hands it off to Perry. Goes for the 2-hand. Tipped up by Diallo. Perry again. 2 back-to-back offensive boards.
Must be getting close to that double-double now, Perry. I think he's maybe at, 10 points and 9 boards.
Bowman fires up yet another 3. I cannot wait to see the stat sheet. We will stay online so we can give you the full stats to this one. Goodzer down the other end of the floor, and these guys all just going at it right now. Foul call on number 24, Diallo. 2 shots again now for Blake Bowman. He must be above 30 points at this moment in time.
Yeah, he's been scoring at will down the stretch of this 4th quarter. I mean, it's almost as if we called them both out. Greg Wild on the Charnwood side, and Bowman, I said he looked a bit tired. I mean, his hands are on his knees, but he's just gone crazy. He must have about 10 4th quarter points right now. An opportunity on the line to add some more.
And I feel like he's probably missed about 5 to 8 free throws in this game. So he probably could have been at 40 points by this point.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as a player, you're always disappointed about the things you've missed, not the ones you've made. And he has definitely left a few points up for grabs on the free throw line, and there's another one. Goes 1 for 2, splitting his free throws.
Here's Hansen. In and out dribble. An offensive foul call on Diallo.
Tough one there for the young man. Only just subbed in the game, giving away 2 quick fouls, but I felt like he got a little bit unlucky there on the screen. I thought the ball carrier had come round him, the defender hit him, and he was just rolling to the basket as you do on a pick and roll. Yeah. But too much movement deemed by the referee during that screening action.
Ben Hooper, oh my goodness, with the highlight of the game at the end of the game. Ridiculous. Driving strong to the rack, the hammer with the 2-hand, throws it all over the Riders. Ben Hooper with the big jam.
Huge play there from Ben Hooper. He might have said this game might be out of reach, but I've definitely still got something to give. Drove left, took off. I thought he was going to get blocked, but he was just too high, went through the contact and slammed it home with 2 hands.
Unreal from Ben Hooper, completes the 3-point play. And there's something positive there for the Trailblazers to finish this game with. It will be that play right there as Hansen fires up the 3 just to make sure that it's a little bit calmer in here after that 2-handed jam.
Ben Hooper looks like he's looking for another one.
Well, yeah, here's Darrell Foster now for 3 off the back of the ring. And a rebound for Perry. And Perry will dribble this one out, throws it up court to Hansen, and Hansen will hold on to it. And that's the end of the game, 83 to 69. What an exciting finish there from Ben Hooper. Really putting up a nice little clip. I'm sure it's on BBL Fix. I'm sure it's going to be a Hooch Fix soon. Ain't nobody going to miss that huge play. But it is the Charnwood College Riders that take their first victory in the EABL Summer Showcase against the Derby Trailblazers. A game of 2 halves, a really competitive first half, but the depth of the Riders just came through, and the spread of talent and scoring and work to overcome the underhanded Derby Trailblazers in this one. Yeah,
absolutely. As we said, Coach Will Maynard able to trust the depth of his team there, which meant that he could rotate his players a little bit more perhaps than Derby, and it meant that he could enter some of his starters late into the game at that sort of midway point in the 4th quarter with some fresher legs, and they managed to close out the game. It looked like it was on a knife edge, floating around 4 points, but they managed to come in and get the job done down that last 5 or 6 minutes and stretched out that lead. Well, however, as you say, credit to Derby and Ben Hooper with that huge emphatic play at the end of the game.
Well, we're waiting on those final point tallies. They are coming. It is on his way. I can see my man Jeffrey. He's going to bring me right now the stats for you. So here we go. Let's have a little look at that stat sheet. 39 points, 15 rebounds, 3 assists from Blake Bowman. He was 8 for 15 from the free throw line. Could have had more to his name. for the Derby Trailblazers, alongside 14 points, 7 assists, 4 steals from Carl Alexander, 8 points, 7 rebounds from Enrique Adu, and 8 points, 6 rebounds, 3 block shots for Ben Hooper. The only 4 scorers for the Derby Trailblazers in this game. For the Leicester Riders, 26 points and 2 steals to Greg Wild's name, and 2 assists, 10 points, 10 rebounds for Simeon Perry, 12 points, 10 rebounds, double-double Victor Nduku, 8 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds quietly gone by CJ Hansen, putting in the work. Kanu Gudza had 10 points, 5 assists, 2 steals, 7 rebounds, 7 points for Lane Campbell, 2 points, 2 rebounds for Banwo, 2 points, 4 steals, 2 rebounds for Dan Hadley, who had an exceptional game off the bench, 6 points and 5 rebounds for Nathan Connerty, and that's how it lies out for both of those teams. So, MVP, that's the discussion for me, and obviously if we're going by winners, I would say Greg Wild with his 26 points, but also the work that Hansen and Gudza are really kind of making me second think that decision at this moment in time. But I feel like Gudza made some really clutch plays, 10 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals in that 4th and final quarter to get them over the line.
Yeah, Gudza had a huge 4th quarter. I feel like for a performance through the whole game, maybe not to get the MVP after the flurry of scoring from Greg, but Simeon Perry also deserves a shout out with a solid performance all game long, and doing some of the things that don't show up on that stat sheet, communicating with his teammates, hedging out over screens, switching on the help side coverage, and those things don't go unnoticed, and he really organised his team at times. However, with those back-to-back-to-back triples to put the game out of reach, if you could give a tandem MVP, it would be Kanu Gudza and Greg Wild, but for me, after that flurry, it's got to go to Greg for me.
6 for 12 from the 3-point line, 50%. Greg Wild going wild here at Loughborough University with 26 points. Got a big shout out to Blake Bowman, 39 points, 15 rebounds, but you just can't do it on your own, unfortunately, in basketball. And the Derby Trailblazers still at the end of the game with 0 bench points overall. So that's it here from Loughborough University for the first EABL Showcase Showdown fixture between the Leicester Riders and the Derby Trailblazers. We've got WEABL action coming up next at 4 p.m. with myself alongside Holly Winterburn. But my name is Tahir Hadja and I've been alongside Dominic McDonough. We will catch you shortly. Don't make sure you don't miss out the Charnwood College Riders taking on Derby Trailblazers Academy. WEABL action on the Basketball England page at official EABL at WEABL official. Thank you and have a good afternoon.